Okay, this is the Telepresence server. Here we have to do some configurations like add user for the conductor. So add new user IDs, let's suppose, yeah, those. Okay, name, I can give any, or let's just leave it blank. Password, we need this, and we have to give him administrator rights. So after adding this, already exists. I think in my lab it is pre-configured, so that's why it's needed. Let me configure. Let me delete the previous one. Okay, so we have configured conductor 1 with password Cisco 1 and given access rights of administrator. Next, we need to configure some SIP settings on the Telepresence server. So for that, we will go to configuration, SIP settings. In SIP settings, call direct, outbound address, domain not required, TLS, disables is okay, or secure. Call direct, just this default settings. Transport TLS. Yeah, this is one thing we just have to make sure it should be transport TLS. In SIP settings, can be disabled. We do not want dual unique TLS only. Okay. Apply. Once this is done, we have to do the deployment of the Telepresence server on Telepresence Conductor. So for this, let's connect to our Telepresence Conductor. You have the credentials for yours as well. Try. Okay, so here now in the Telepresence Conductor, we have to configure the conference bridge pool and conference bridge. So first we'll go to conference bridge pools here from conference configuration. You can select conference bridge pools. You can create conference bridges, service parameters, the service preferences, sorry, conference templates and so on. So all these we have to configure up to conference areas. So first thing is conference bridge pool. Delete the previous one and okay, this is a default one. We can add new suppose bridge pool 1. Okay, description not required. Bridge type would be Telepresence server and not MCU here. We have the bridge to be created with the Telepresence server. Leave these default, no problem. Location none is fine. Conference bridges in this pool are none right now. Create pool. Okay, no conference bridge pool is saved here. So either you can create conference bridge directly from here or from the conference configuration. Let me name it to Telepresence. Server 1. Description not required. State should be enabled. What else? IP address. Yes, we want the IP address. IP address we have to assign is this IP. This extra IP is used to add this conductor with our server. So that is the additional IP. Save it. Conference bridge username was yes, conductor 1. Password was Cisco 1. Dial plan prefix we don't want. Port is okay. We can create conference. We have to make sure that this status is active here. Right now it is unusable. Let's wait for it to come up. Spotify enabled. I believe it's the overlap in my lab because of already configured bridge and bridge pools. Let me check. Yeah. Delete. Just deleting the previous pre-configured things. Templates. Templates are here. Delete. Currently in use. Okay. Delete the templates. Okay, it should be fine now. Let's see from the beginning. Bridge. We have one bridge. Communicating, no problem. Okay, let's proceed with our configurations at least. So we have our conference bridge configured as Telepresence Server 1. We have conference bridge pool. That is bridge pool 1, in which we should have the Telepresence Server 1 enabled, which is fine. Another just let me see the settings first. Server 1. Okay, let's use HTTPS 443. That can be an issue with the status as well. Let's see, conductor 1, Cisco 1, plan port is okay. Is okay. Everything is fine. Okay, let's see the configuration just. So next, we have to do service preference. In service preference, we will create the bridge type. This one I think is pre-configured. Delete this one. It says no template service preference exists, but it's still showing something. No problem. Let's see service preference 1. Telepresence server has to be selected for telepresence. Add service preference. And there is no pool. Can select it pool 1. Okay. This will be the pool use. Let us find save. Verify again on bridge. Busy outstate. Number of conference bridge and pool. This is fine. Okay. All right, next, let's see from configuration standpoint. After preferences, we need a template for the conference. So we'll create a conference template, add new, any template one, description, it's meeting, policy mode not required, service preference one, number of cascades, participant quality. We can use different qualities for the meeting. Let's use a lower one just so that it doesn't take much bandwidth. Allow multi-screen. No. Okay. Optimize resource. Yes. Content quality. That is okay. Dual conference. No. Segment switching. That is okay. Let's keep all these things default. Now, once we save this template, first, when you create the template, it does not give you all the options. Once you create a template and then you open, you get more options. Like here, we see advanced parameters. We can configure advanced parameters like guest pane and so on. So let's just leave advanced settings here, leave it as default here. We'll create one more template to test. To meeting service preference quality. See, under advanced parameters, there is no option to edit right now, but as I'll create, and then you will open it. Now you get options for the advanced settings, advanced parameters. You don't want to change that, just keep it default. Next thing we need is the alias. So let's create new alias. First, there's one. Okay. Conference regex format, it is incoming alias, so we have to give meeting backslash dot star one. That is what our format was. Meet then as per our group number. Then at the domain. My domain is g1 dot lab 140 dot local. Conference name would be the first group, that is the username. Priority one for this and then we'll use 2 for the second one. This we will associate this alias with template 1. Role type participant or guest. We can use participant. Use participant and allow conference to be created. Yes. Create alias. Let's create second alias for template 2. First was 2. Same regex. Check meet dot. Oh no. For this one, we have a different alias to be used. That is for the numbers and which are configured for call 7.1. We will test this later. Dot star. Yeah, here it is. Any number starting with 7.1 and with the domain this. And first portion, priority 2 of this alias template. Template will be template 2 participants and create. Okay. Next, we will have to configure Expressway for deployment with the conductor. We were having some issues because of the previous configuration here, but whatever configuration I showed should work for you fine because there is no pre-configuration. So first you have to begin with bridge pool, create a bridge pool, conference bridge pool, then conference bridge, then service preference template. We will create 2 templates, 2 alias, and we will allocate each alias with one of the template separately. So that part is done. So we have done the configurations of telepresence server. We have created the user. We have done the settings that we had to do here. On conductor, we have configured the conference settings, the bridge pool, preference, service preferences, template, and alias. Next, we have to do the configuration on Expressway, where we have to configure zone, neighbor zone with telepresence conductor. Okay, before that, just remember. Interface IP here, we have to check in Telepresence Conductor, the IP gateway, IPv4 gateway. I think this is predefined IP address of the conductor. This is okay. Additional IP is this 54. This is fine. So this the location test expressway. Okay, I think expressway is also pre-configured with this setting. That's why otherwise it doesn't show here as location test for expressway. Okay, no problem. Let me show you. Delete this. I'm seeing if you can change anything here additional. No. All right, let's go to expressway now. One is fine. Conference locations. Yeah, we have the expressway already added. It's okay. Let's use the same. Let's check. The conference type is this is just scheduled conference and not ad hoc or both. Rendezvous is for scheduled conferences. This is already configured IP address with trunk. So here from here, a trunk with the expressway is already configured. So you can just see these are the settings we have to do same way. And that's it. So this part is done. Now let's see in expressway if the zones are already there. I'll just show you how we have to configure it. So yeah, there is a neighbor to conductor. So like we saw earlier in the previous lab for expressway where we configured neighbor zone. Same way, in that one we configured the neighbor with CUCM. Here we have configured it with the conductor. So in that neighbor to conductor, count can be any as per your requirement, maximum. S S323 mode should be off because it uses SIP, so SIP should be on. Port number TLS should be transport. Authentication policy, treat as authenticated. If you want, if there are authentications and you want it to be authenticated through credentials, we can use that, but we are using treat as authenticated. Here we have the peer address. This is the address of the conductor, the additional IP of the conductor, which is reachable, which is good. Zone profile is custom. It's fine. Rest everything is okay. Okay, yeah, that is it. This is pre-configured. Next, we need a search rule. So let's see if we have a search rule also here under dial plans, search rules. Yes, we have conductor CMR test, conductor test. Okay, so we need two search rules here. First, I think is this one, conductor test. So with priority 80, protocol any alias pattern match regex for the first pattern string, which is our first alias, leave, continue on successful match, and the target is neighbor to conductor. That's it. The second search rule, conductor CMR search rule with priority 85, source any, request, authentication no. Regex, this is for our second alias which was configured. Behavior leave, continue. Target would be the same, neighbor to conductor, because both the alias are on the conductor only, and we want the search rules to point to the conductor. And that's it. Once this is done, we should be able to test if my configurations does not overlap with the previous one. So let me just test it from endpoints. Log into the second one also. We are in. Let's see. Yeah, it's registered as safe fine. It is registered as H223 fine. Call control. Now let's go to this first endpoint and dial the number. So for connecting to this meeting to the conference, we'll have to dial through the alias that we created, meeting dot group number, express the domain, and so on. The second alias we created was just as to know that we can create for numbers starting with any number and domain also. So here we have meet dot group. The number for you would be like 234, so we can verify that. Then G1. Mm, loud, sorry. Let me check that domain. EMS, maybe. So what should happen is that when we call it from here, it should create a conference. Although we have only two endpoints, it will show as a point to point. But if you have like more than one, you can connect all those devices in that conference, dialing with the this number. And once we have that call up, I think it's just the overlap of my configuration, but you can try, it will work fine. And once you have that call ready, you can go to conductor. Telepresence server. From here, if you want to verify your conferences in a telepresence server, you can verify conferences. And right now, as we don't have any, you will see the list of the ongoing conference from here. You can see the participants and all that from here. Yeah, once that is done. So that is it. You can try with the same file that I sent you to configure from scratch and do all the configuration starting from the creation of user with admin privileges for conductor within telepresence server, then SIP settings. That is a flow of configuration. Then on conductor, we need to log in and configure conference bridge pool, conference bridge service preference, templates, and alias, and associate those alias with the templates. After that, we need to have a neighbor zone configured on expressway pointing to conductor and search rules pointing to conductor. And make sure in the conductor, in the network settings, you have added the expressway with a trunk to expressway. That is it. So this is how we do the deployment for telepresence server to conductor. And that is it.